organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, we'll take a look at an Iowa City union's demands of City Council.
And find out how some university students are helping increase education quality in Africa. And
in sports, Chris Spear hasn't been a familiar one on the men's tennis team in the past, but see how that's all about to change.
All that's coming your way next. Daily Iowan TV starts now.
Thanks for tuning into your Daily Iowan TV, your television news, sports, and weather source for the Daily Iowan. I'm Megan Grody.
And I'm Reed Chandler.
The American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees Local 183 Division met Wednesday afternoon to come to an agreement on the initial bargaining proposal they plan to present to the City of Iowa City. One thing the union hopes to achieve with a new contract proposal is to gain a 4% pay increase by January 2013.
It helps them keep up with the price. And they took when you get gas is $4 a gallon. When they figure most of the time when they figure the cost of living, they don't add gas and food. And that's not part of what their official figures. But of course, everybody buys gas and food, so it's part of the real life.
The union also wants to be able to hold orientations with new incoming city employees. The next proposal discussion is set to take place October 13th at City Hall.
The murder trial of 19-year-old Charles Thompson is now being contested. Thompson is being tried for alleged murder of John Versipt, an Iowa City landlord. The defense filed a motion earlier this week to dismiss all charges against Thompson, alleging that the prosecution deliberately provoked the defendant to move forward with a mistrial for unexplained reasons. The judge declared a mistrial last week after the prosecution played parts of a video of police interviewing Thompson that were not supposed to be seen. A hearing on the dismissal of the charges of Thompson will be held on October 20th, while the retrial is still scheduled for December 25th. Meanwhile, Justin Marshall, 20, has also been charged in the case and will be tried in January. And earlier this week, police arrested Courtney White, 23, for first-degree murder in the case as well. Check out tomorrow's pages of the Daily Iowan for more.
An Iowa City man who calls himself Captain Save-A-Ho found himself in legal trouble yet again. Gerald Navarre, 35, who has been arrested for harassing women before, reportedly walked up to a couple Monday morning at their campsite and began to throw rocks at them to wake them up. Police claim Navarre followed the couple after they relocated the scene. Official reports say Navarre appeared to be intoxicated, eventually smashing a bottle and cutting himself. The man allegedly continued to be aggressive with the male victim, saying his days were numbered. Police later found Navarre in the Ped Mall, where he was charged with an assault and public intoxication.
And students at the UI are advocating the betterment of African education through a tie-dyeing fundraiser. Daily Iowan TV's Natalie Vicchio spoke with students participating in the event.
The bridge between us and African children was made a little smaller today in Hubbard Park as students gathered to support the furthering of education.
U of I's Hope for Africa brings just that in its first fundraiser this semester by donating proceeds from tie-dyeing t-shirts to 3 Kenyan schools.
So today we're tie-dyeing shirts for Hope for Africa, and it's a club that raises money for primary schools in Kenya. So the education there, they don't really have a lot of supplies, they need books, computers, just a lot of necessities that they don't have. So we raise money for them, and we do different programs. So we do Computers for Hope, so we have we got 10 computers for a school, and we did Books for Hope. Got a little library together, just getting supplies for them.
The funds aim to aid organizations like H2O for Hope and Books for Hope, following the National Hope for Africa motto, Young People Helping Young People.
It gives awareness towards people in developing countries, and it's a great way to support people.
The shirts are available for purchase for $10, with 100% of the proceeds going to the Hope for Africa organization.
Natalie Vicchio, Daily Iowan TV.
And the students say they are seeing more success in this year's fundraising efforts than in the past.
A study released in late September by UI physics professor John Neff found the population of the Johnson County Jail between 1983 and 2011 to have increased by 172%. However, arrests since the 80s in Johnson County have not increased. Neff's study says other factors must be the cause of the jail population. Most notably are the cuts in personnel at the Johnson County Courthouse. Cuts in employees reduce the amount of trials that can be held daily, perhaps causing the increase of amount of people held in the jail at one time. Read tomorrow's editions of the Daily Iowan for more details.
And students involved in the Greek system at the UI will soon be held to higher expectations. According to the Office of Student Life and UI Vice President Tom Rockland, Greek students should be held accountable for the amount of citations and arrest each year. The proposed enactment would increase consequences to Greek life members for having a ratio of arrests and citations per year higher than that of students not involved in Greek life. The Greek governmental bodies will meet with Rockland and the Office of Student Life to discuss the proposal. You can learn more about the proposal in Thursday's Daily Iowan.
And still more to come from Daily Iowan TV. See how the Occupy Wall Street movement makes its way to Iowa City.
And learn about Iowa City's celebration of the UN Day of the Elderly.
Plus, how the new face of the women's golf team is helping to turn the program around.
All of this and more to come, but first, here's your local weather forecast with Daily Iowan TV's Michael Howell.
Well, Reed, Thursday's forecast is looking similar to Wednesday's. In the morning, we'll see sunny skies and 54-degree temperatures. Around noon, we'll keep the sun and see a rise in the temperatures to 72 degrees. And in the evening, we'll see a slight drop to 69 degrees. Looking at our extended forecast, Friday will be a bit breezy day, but with a high of 84 degrees. The weekend through Tuesday, we'll have sunny skies and temperatures between the high 70s and the mid-80s. And Wednesday, we have a 20% chance of rain, but a high of 73 degrees. That's this week's check on the weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Michael. The Food and Drug Administration has posted some food recalls for certain fruits. Nationally, people have contracted Wistera from cantaloupes. The UI, however, does not plan to recall any foods in the dining hall. Iowa City has seen its first case reported in cantaloupe, but the UI will not recall its cantaloupe products. The UI says it does not pull food products unless the distributors release a statement notifying their customers of infected fruits. For more updates on potential recalls, read tomorrow's pages of the Daily Iowan.
Recent stock value changes may be good news for Republican presidential nomination candidate Mitt Romney. The Iowa Electronic Markets place monetary value on specific candidates' contracts. Chris Christie, before announcing a decision to not seek the presidency, reached as high as 30 cents in value on his contract, but reduced down to 15 cents after making his announcement. Additionally, Rick Perry's contract value dropped from 24 cents to 11 cents after a Washington Post ABC News survey showed reduced popularity for the Texan governor. Mitt Romney, meanwhile, skyrocketed in contract stock value from 48 cents to 75 cents. The price of each contract on the IEM symbolizes the probability traders think a certain candidate will win the GOP nomination.
And in wake of a movement largely influenced by social media such as Facebook and Twitter known as Occupy Wall Street, Iowans are now planning their own protests. Occupy Iowa is a movement planning to protest across Iowa and in Iowa City about corruption on Wall Street. The group will hold a planning session Wednesday night at 7 p.m. in the Jefferson Building on the Ped Mall to organize a future protest in Iowa City. Occupy Iowa's Facebook page describes the movement open to the 99% of Americans struggling in the economy, while the 1% on Wall Street make more profits. Read more about the movement in tomorrow's pages of the Daily Iowan.
And related, the Occupy Iowa movement's inspiration from Occupy Wall Street is gaining increased support in New York and on the national stage. While the young protesters have been organizing demonstrations on Wall Street in New York, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C., workers' unions joined the crowds Wednesday, as reported by CNN. A half-dozen labor unions organized a march through Lower Manhattan Wednesday as a part of the movement to urge reform in multiple U.S. economic facets. The protesters are largely influenced by the Arab Spring protests earlier this year and were also heavily organized through social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter.
The United Nations Day of the Elderly is held on the first day of every October. Daily Iowan TV's Ryan Jones takes a look at the Iowa City's way of celebrating the event at the Iowa City Senior Center.
In 1982, the United Nations declared the first United Nations Day of the Elderly People. Iowa City celebrated their third annual UN Day today. All the seats were filled at the Senior Center with a packed crowd. The event's focus was on the Japanese elderly and the culture surrounding it. Michelle Buman with others have spent since January planning the event.
About an hour and a half to 2 hour program where we focus on places where people live longer, healthier lives. So we've done Okinawa, India, and now we're doing Japan.
Both elderly residents and UI students both attended the event. Because of that, event goers said that it promoted understanding of each other. The event had 4 different guests speaking on issues ranging from the tsunami relief to the demographics of the aging. Michelle Buman said it was only possible because of the relations she had with the university.
Sources at the University of Iowa's international programs, and Yume came to us and said that she was willing to help, and she had so many connections that we knew we'd be able to pull off a program very, very successfully.
To get the event started, the attendees were asked to do a Japanese tradition. In Japan, everyone is taught a national exercise program. The exercise program is mostly meant for children, but some adults still do it today.
They still do the exercise.
With the event just now over, the Senior Center is already starting to plan next year's UN Day for the elderly. I'm Ryan Jones, Daily Iowan TV.
The United Nations Day celebration closed with traditional Japanese ice green teas for all attendees.
And now, Daily Iowan TV Sports' Chelsea Byrne joins us at the desk. And Chelsea, we always hear about the success of the Iowa men's golf team, but I hear that the women's golf team is improving their program as well.
They are, and really the spark of that program has to do with their brand new coach. Megan Menzel may only be the 4th head coach in Iowa women's golf history, but the team has started off the season with an experienced and very talented fresh face. Although this coach may be new to the team, she is anything but new to Iowa City.
The University of Iowa women's golf team has a new coach this year in Megan Menzel. During her college years, Menzel competed at the University of New Mexico, and upon graduation at the early age of only 23, took the position of women's head golf coach at Boise State. From there, Menzel took her coaching talents to Colorado State, where she led the Rams to 2 NCAA regional appearances. Then it was on to the Big 12 and the Kansas Jayhawks, before retiring at the age of 28 to have a family. After a little time off, she's back in the coaching scene, but this time in a place she likes to call home. Menzel grew up in Cedar Rapids and believes herself to be a Hawkeye at heart. Coach Menzel explains her thoughts about being back in Iowa.
A lot of excitement. I'm really excited to be back here in Iowa City and coaching for the Hawkeyes.
Menzel joins a talented Hawkeye team this year that returns 5 letter winners and receives 3 freshmen, 2 of whom are nationally ranked student athletes. Junior Christy Cardwell tells us a little bit about their successful start to the season with Coach Menzel.
First 2 tournaments we performed really well, and it's really not even up to the potential that we all have. But we're looking forward to a great season and good finish at the end in spring.
Menzel had a successful University of Iowa coaching debut, leading the Hawks to a 3rd place finish at the Chip and Club Invitational back in September. With a positive start and a fresh season, we look forward to seeing what Menzel has planned for the Hawks this year. Kate Constable, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
Menzel will take her team to French Lick, Indiana next week to compete in the Lady Northern Invitational on October 10th and 11th. And Iowa tennis player Chris Spear has stepped into the spotlight his senior year after not playing for most of his college career.
Iowa tennis player Chris Spear hasn't seen any competition action since his freshman year of college. But today, in his semi-debut season, he holds the best record on the team.
At the beginning of the 2011 season, Spear hadn't started in a match in exactly 1,071 days. But he finally got his chance at the Purdue Invitational a few weeks ago. Spear took home the Flight B back draw title and the Flight C doubles main draw title that weekend to lead him to his praiseworthy 8-1 record. The 21-year-old Illinois native credits his long-awaited return to the lineup to maintaining a positive attitude and knowing that his shot would come soon enough.
Every day has been the same. I mean, me playing or not, I've given it 110% each time, and there hasn't been days where just because I wasn't playing that I just didn't care out there. I mean, I've given it all every day, and that's, me doing that for the last 3 years has given me the opportunity to be where I am now.
Head coach Steve Hooten calls Spear's season so far a great story. citing his dedication and work ethic. Looking ahead, Spear will be playing next at either the ITA All-American Tournament in Tulsa or the ITA Regionals at Northwestern. But no matter which he gets sent to, you can guarantee he'll be giving that 110%. I'm Annie Satowski, DITV Sports.
And you know, actually, the main tennis season is in the spring, but this is a great time for the guys to work out and get better.
Yeah, it seems like Chris is really taking advantage of the time.
Yep. Thanks, Chelsea.
And only with Daily Iowan TV can you get a sneak peek at Thursday's pages of the Daily Iowan.
Read about how Iowa City Public Access Television will be holding a contest for Iowa City citizens to submit documentaries.
Plus, learn about how Ron Paul's wife publishes a cookbook every time he runs for office and what to expect from this newest one this Thanksgiving.
Before we leave you, let's take a look at your local weather forecast. You won't be seeing many clouds tomorrow, as we'll see partly cloudy skies Thursday morning with 64 degrees, 75 and sunny throughout the day, and clear skies with a cool 58 degrees at night.
And that's all the time we have for this edition of Daily Iowan TV. You can tune in tomorrow at the same time or check us out online at dailyiowan.com. For Daily Iowan TV, I'm Reed Chandler. Thanks for watching and have a great night.